For those of you who are joining us on Facebook Live and YouTube, or maybe you're listening, well, no, not yet. Podcast doesn't start until the music starts. So if you are joining us today, you'll know that Dr. Joel Fuhrman is in the classroom. He is our teacher today, and we are going to be talking about how to overcome these struggles. This is yet another chapter in Dr. Fuhrman's new book. Dr. Fuhrman, oh, I forgot to ask you to bring the book out so you could be my band of white. I still don't have it yet, so I should be getting it. And 3 of you are going to get a free copy. So the way you do that, I will share with you how to do that. But you can start tagging people and sharing this and liking this. That's a hint on what to need to do. There's my Vanna White, aka Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and we're going to fasten our seatbelts because we are going to learn and grow together. Here we go. It's time to dance.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and my viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends on Facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. So once again, guess what time it is? It is time to get your G-bombs and to learn about G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, the Nutritarian lifestyle that my wonderful guest, my teacher, Dr. Joel Fuhrman, who has been teaching us since 2015 here in the classroom. At the time, it was a show. Now it's a classroom. And he continues to come on to share this important information and how you can reverse disease, prevent it from happening by focusing on nutrients. The Nutritarian lifestyle is a lifestyle I've adopted, and I am always excited to hear about, the new ways. Every time he comes on, I learned a new way to look at and reframe being a nutritarian. And so today I ask you the question, what are you doing to release weight? Just recently, we had a wonderful listener say, I've been a nutritarian for a long time, but yet I am 50 pounds or 100 pounds overweight. And Dr. Fuhrman said, well, she's not a nutritarian, because when you're a nutritarian, your weight goes back to the way it was intended. And so with that in mind, what are you willing to do to get to the weight and to get to health? First of all, side effect is releasing the weight. But what if you are doing so many different things, but that weight isn't coming off? Once again, we're going to be discussing Dr. Joel Fuhrman's latest book called Eat for Life. Go ahead and show it to us, Dr. Fuhrman. It's called Eat for Life. And I love how he was like reading it at the beginning of the classroom here. Yes, it's called Eat for Life, his latest, and he says it's his last book, but I doubt. And there's Petey. Petey wants to eat some of the food. And so that today we're going to take a chapter of this book that's called the struggle to lose weight. And it's about that struggle. So we're going to nip that in the bud, and we're going to learn and grow together. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I'm so grateful that Dr. Fuhrman is here to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Fuhrman, to the classroom.
Hi, nice to be here.
Nice to be here too. So before we get started on everything, you and I had, the last time you were on, you talked about the prevention of the coronavirus. And, you know, you gave some of your facts and some of the ways that we can prevent and stay and rebuild our immune system. But time has gone by, a month has gone by. Has anything changed? Or is there any position that you'd like to share with all of us?
Well, just want people to put it in perspective that about 115,000, let me see, 1,700 people died yesterday from heart disease, and 10 people died from coronavirus. Out of the 10 people who died from coronavirus, maybe some of them would have died anyway from pneumonia or flu this year or two anyway. So what I'm saying is that why aren't people, not that I don't want people to be protective and be concerned,
Correct.
But why weren't they concerned about the 1,700 that died needlessly of heart disease? It's easily preventable. Why aren't we concerned about the thousands that die each day of diabetes? What are we concerned about the thousands that die every day, the many thousands that die every day of cancer, when we have the answer available for these people to stop all these needless deaths of 3, 4, 5,000 people a day, and we're all in alarm about the 10 people dying of coronavirus. So of course I'm saying here is that we have the knowledge to boost human immunity through nutritional excellence to protect against heart disease and strokes and cancers and dementia. And the side effect, if you eat healthy enough, you'll build your immune system and you'll be resistant to infections, including bacterial pneumonias and coronavirus infections. And of course, right now, flu-related bacterial pneumonias still kill more people than coronavirus does, but it's the same cause. We're not going to be able to wipe out all risk of catching the virus. It's going to be all over our society. We're not going to, what we can do is build our immune system with healthy eating, with juicing, with taking the right supplements. We can live healthfully to make or protect ourselves from all these diseases. And that's the most important thing to do. And nobody's even talking about it. It's all about all about fear, fear mongering, and if we all seclude ourselves and we flatten the curve, it'll help not only see people going to the hospital at the same time, but it's not going to stop people from getting coronavirus. They're still going to get it. It's just going to be spread over a period of time. The numbers stay more even. And the point is, you still have to protect yourselves with proper nutrition. And there's nothing else other than eating right. I always say it's not putting your hands to your face as much as not putting those bad foods in your mouth. That's going to protect your life. In the 60, we're talking about the biological age versus the chronological age. And that even though people are over 80 are at higher risk and over 70 are at higher risk, but the American 70-year-old, is like a 90-year-old. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So because their nutrition is so poor. And we know that at 80 years old in America, you're close to death anyway. We should be 100 years old if Americans are at 80 years old. The point is, let's not be as ignorant as most other Americans. Let's take great care of our health. We all got to do, that's what we all have to do together. And that's the type of message we have to share to everybody. And it's amazingly how quick you can boost your immune system. If you haven't been healthfully in the past and you want to protect yourself against infection, then you eat the G-bombs, eat the salad and the soups, and you drink vegetable juice. You put in, a third lettuce, a third cruciferous, and a third carrot and beet, and you drink the juice every day, and you get those nutrients into your system faster, and you protect yourself quickly and build up your immunity. And you know what helps too? Mushrooms have viral effects, and that's why, I use my immune biotech, which has 12 different mushroom extracts with elderberry, astragalus, beta-glucan, and some other things that make it work better. But we're adding even more mushrooms because most of us just eat one type of mushroom or two types of mushrooms. So there's lots of things we can do to protect ourselves. It's not just walking around with fear. And the point is, when you're protecting your immune system and strengthening your immune system with proper eating and appropriate and conservative supplementation, then you're also protecting yourself against cancer at the same time and dementia at the same time. And that's what's, that's what's more important than the coronavirus.
Absolutely. I think that the media has controlled our programming. And you and I have talked about changing the program and, changing the program by changing the way we eat, changing the way we think. And the program right now is such that fear is at the core. And I'm not saying, and I have never said to not take this serious. I truly believe, Dr. Fuhrman, that even if you have the common cold, which is coronavirus, if you have the common cold, you should practice courtesy to people who are around you. So whether it's the coronavirus COVID-19 or it's just the regular flu or a common cold, I believe that people should practice washing their hands. They should be courteous and not, spread the germs and contaminate others. But here's the thing, that, when you reframe it too, that there are other things that are killing us. And that is why you're so passionate about what you do, to the point where, you are out there spreading this good news for people. Wake up, and smell the G-bombs. But that's not what's happening out there, because we are so lulled into believing that if we lock ourselves in and stop building this economy that was so great, all of a sudden, things are going to start collapsing. Not just our health has collapsed all the way around, but the economy, now that people are just like, weddings are being canceled, events are being canceled. And, if you are sick, don't go, don't get out.
Everything's being canceled. It's everything.
Everything's being,
like you're saying, it's about 15 to 30,000 people died of the flu last year. 15, somewhere they estimate between 15 and 30,000. A lot of people are, pneumonias mixed in, flu-related pneumonias mixed in there. But we have that's a number that can be reduced. In other words, good health and good nutrition reduces risk of all causes of death, all cause mortality, and extends human lifespan. Yes. Affections are wrapped into that. And as the coronavirus fades away in 3 months or 18 months, how long as it takes, we don't know. But there's going to be another virus that comes along after that, sometime after that, and another one after that. It's not going to, we're going to just sit, and these people harboring down in their house and ordering out fast food restaurants and eating their French fries and pizza, they're not going to be living longer because they're secluding themselves. They're secluding themselves. So if you're sickly, you don't die of one thing, you die of something else. Yeah. If you're that sick, you're going to die of something in the near future anyway. And that's who the coronavirus is killing. Not that I'm, in other words, we have to change the way people think about health and disease, and they have to protect themselves. And nobody's doing this. It's hardly anybody is giving this message out there except for us.
Yes. Well, I am so grateful for you that you're saying, look at prevention everywhere around. But there is someone that you're going to say hi to today, right?
Oh, you mean Lillian Medina?
Yes.
Happy birthday to you, even though it's not a birthday.
It's not a birthday.
Well, I'm glad you're listening to this show, and
yes,
I'm going to be imparting good health to you.
Yes.
Whether it's your birthday or not, I'm wishing you the best.
Yes, thank you so much.
I thought you were talking about Petey was listening to
Petey, of course, Petey. It's like, okay, I caught you off guard. Okay, so Dr. Fuhrman, let's get going, because I know that you have a lot of adoring fans now. There's lots of questions to ask, and I do want to so thank you so much for sharing your perspective, bringing it down a notch so that we can start saying, if anything's going to kill us, it's the way that we are eating mindlessly. And when I saw the copy of your book, I thought, there are so many chapters in this book that those chapters alone could have been a book. Second of all, we could have done a class on every single chapter in that book, because it's filled with so much information. So let's get started with your book is in that chapter that is about, the stressors, the struggles of losing weight. And so you start this chapter with the blue zones. And let's talk about the blue zones and what you learned when it comes to the Nutritarian lifestyle and these blue zones?
Well, first of all, what I'm saying here is that even though blue zones may live on the average 5 to 8 years longer than Americans live, that's not what a nutritarian diet is attempting to emulate or to reproduce. We're trying to get 20 years of extra lifespan, not 6 years of extra lifespan. Blue
Healthy
zones just,
lifespan.
right, of healthy lifespan. They're just eating what's customarily eaten in those areas that their ancestors ate or what's grown in that area. They're not using science to adopt a diet style that has maximal potential to extend human life and slow aging, number one.
Yes.
But number two, that we have a great opportunity in human history now to have more nutritional variety and nutritional density than the blue zones could have ever achieved, nearly achieved.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's a Mediterranean diet or a blue zone diet, keep in mind that a nutritarian diet is a way step above that in its potential to reverse disease, extend human longevity, and protect us. And I am saying that a nutritarian is at a favorable weight, or they're moving towards that favorable weight. In other words, you could be overweight and be a nutritarian,
Mm-hmm.
but then you're adjusting the nutritional content of your diet and the calories to be in that optimal range for you.
Okay.
And if you're overweight, the optimal range for you has to be a range that induces weight loss if you're overweight. If you're not in that range of calories that induces weight loss and you're overweight, then you're not following a nutritarian program, because that's an important part of this. Right, Petey?
I think Petey wrote the book. He was your guide. I'm sure that he is a nutritarian puppy here. Okay,
he is a nutritarian puppy.
And that's great. I think that we can make our life, we can protect ourselves in so many different ways. And this is not about fear. This is about self-love. And I just don't think anything good comes from fear. So we're going to be focusing, as you want to love yourself, focus on having a nutritarian lifestyle. Focus on nutrients, not just necessarily calories. And many of them, I've never counted a calorie, by the way. People ask me about it. I'm like, I really don't know. I eat what I love, and I eat what's healthy, and that's good enough for me. So we have a question from another Lillian. We have a question from Lillian. For someone who is 100 pounds overweight and doing intermittent fasting and following your restriction program, which is eating 2 meals a day, what is the average amount of weight someone can lose?
Well, typically people lose 15 pounds the first month, about 10 pounds the second month, and thereafter about 8 to 10 pounds a month. Men lose a little more, and women lose a little less, and women who are older probably lose a little slower. In other words, it varies a little bit from person to person, but we still want people to achieve consistent and regimented weight loss. I tell most people that they should be adjusting their diet so they lose about 2 pounds a week, or about a pound every 3 days, if they're overweight. Of course, it's going to slow down as they get to more closer to their normal weight. But most overweight people should be dropping a pound every 3 days, and they should use the scale. They should use the scale to see that they're losing weight, so they can modify their diet and look at what they just did wrong if they didn't lose 2 pounds a week or a pound every 3 days, because some people are not only addicted to unhealthy foods, but they're also addicted to overeating. They become so how should I say, it becomes a habit and a hobby to stuffing themselves with food. And even if they become an eating nutritarian, they're stuffing themselves with something all day long, or they're doing something wrong, so it helps them to use a scale. At least they can modulate themselves to the right amount of calories to achieve that weight loss. And with time, like you and I don't count calories, we just eat what we feel like eating. With time and experience, they can reproduce that, and then the whole purpose of a nutritarian diet is it makes you more comfortable with less calories. You don't desire those extra calories anymore, and then the amount you desire becomes the right amount. But for some people, they're so addicted, they've been so distorted to what they've been eating that they need some guidance and help, because they don't have true hunger yet, and they're still in the habit of using food in a way that's not favorable. They eat for emotional reasons or other reasons, and they have a tendency to eat too much. So it's good they keep on track, and we have to keep losing weight if you want to be healthy. You can't be overweight and be healthy. There's no such thing as an overweight healthy person. If you're overweight, you're not healthy.
So what makes you overweight, Dr. Fuhrman? You talk about BMI in that chapter. And so help us understand, because, many Americans and many doctors even have said, oh, you're not that overweight, or you're fine, or they don't even look at BMI. How important is BMI?
Well, the American health authorities claim that about 77% of people, or 75%, are now overweight or obese. And that's because they use a BMI of 25 as the demarcation line between overweight and normal weight people. But I'm suggesting that in all long-lived populations, including the blue zones, men are always below 23 BMI, women below 22 BMI. If we use a BMI of 23 as the demarcation line, then about 90% of Americans are considered overweight. And what I'm saying, the risk of being killed from a coronavirus, the risk of getting cancer, and the risk of having a heart attack or being demented or having depression is all related to how much your BMI is above 23. Your risks go higher as your BMI go higher and higher. And even in your BMI of 25, you're a significant risk, is the point. It goes, as it gets worse, as it goes higher, it gets worse from there. But, of course, fat cells damage the body, and we have to, and it's diseased tissue. We have to get that pathological tissue off our body. But of course, it takes time for people to abstain from their addictive triggers and normalize the brain and normalize the metabolism for this to work. So it takes some time. They have to be patient too. And when you're very overweight, you've got to adhere to a healthy diet for a long period of time. There's no quick fix here. They've got to do this long term and stay with this for the rest of their life. Because once they're learning to eat healthfully to protect against cancer and dementia. And if you stay with that, eventually the weight's going to come off.
Very good. Now, in there, you talk about why diets fail, and also the revolving toxic hunger. You're talking about how we have been programmed again, and I guess I want to keep this theme of the coronavirus and how they're programming us to be fearful. And so what I'm saying is that with the toxic hunger, I've heard the program, which was, you're hypoglycemic, you need to eat every 2 hours. And this is part of my program. I got to eat every 2 hours. I got to, if I don't, my blood sugar level will go down. And you're saying that is not real. And so share a little bit about toxic hunger and food addictions and why other diets fail.
Right. And what we're saying here is that the BMI should be below 23 for a male and below 22 for a female. That corresponds with a body fat below 15% body fat for a male and below 25% body fat for a female. If your body fat is above 25%, you're at significant risk. Ideally, it should be below 12.5% for a male and below 22.5% for a female. But 15 and 25 should be the upper limit of acceptability of body fat percent, corresponding with 22 and 23 BMI, just to give you an example here. And then what I'm saying, of course, is that fatigue is not a symptom of hunger. Fatigue means your body is going through a discharge and release of toxins into the blood supply, including reactive oxygen species and other free radicals. In other words, people eat to keep their energy up. They eat because they think they'll feel fatigued if they don't. And what I'm saying is that when a person is feeling fatigued, their body is self-cleansing and healing itself. And people don't like the way they feel, and because eating stops the detox, it stops the healing. Fatigue, that feeling is the detox. It's something right directed or good that's happening to you. Yeah. And people feel shaky, they feel weak, they feel headachy, they feel stomach cramping. People feel anxiety and withdrawal, depression. You take away their junk foods. For the foods Americans eating are so dangerous that they're addictive, and only harmful substances become addictive. You don't get addicted to broccoli and sesame seeds. You get addicted to, white flour, sugar, salt, and oil. You get addicted to what's killing you. Yeah. And when you stop those foods, you feel ill. particularly the extra nitrogen in animal products, because Americans are protein poisoned. They're eating so much animal protein, and the high levels of animal protein increases IGF-1, which promotes cancer and cellular replication, but it also floods their body with nitrogenous wastes. These are nitrogen compounds, and some of them are urea and ammonia and uric acid, but there's other nitrogenous compounds made from nitrogen, made from the excess protein, that can pass through the blood-brain barrier and affect your cognition and make you feel fuzzy and mental and cloud your thinking. We know when people when they have alcoholic-related cirrhosis, if we feed them a lot of protein, they can become encephalopathic and psychotic from the poisoning from excess animal protein. Now, most Americans are poisoned. They don't have good liver function. Their detox mechanisms have been impaired, and they're getting poisoned by excess animal protein, creating too much nitrogen and too many acids in their tissues.
Wow.
And then when they don't eat food, they start to feel really bad, like a person coming off cocaine, or a person who's now, their caffeine's going down, their nicotine's going down, and they feel lousy, and they only feel better if they keep the animal proteins keep shoveling that in their mouth like a drug. They're using food as a drug to keep them from going into detox.
Yeah.
And that's what we call toxic hunger. And that's why people that's why they call themselves hypoglycemic, because when their sugar goes down to the baseline, which is normal, instead of feeling nothing, they feel sickly because they have to keep the sugar elevated. They have to keep the animal protein coming in the body. Because the minute you take it out, they start to withdraw from nitrogen, and they start to feel terrible because they're through the withdrawal process. On a Nutritarian, we're not feeding them frequently. And so you have to be overfed, you have to be overweight, and you have to eat unhealthfully to lessen the symptoms of hypoglycemia, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It just shows a gross and pervasive misunderstanding of how the body works, that people even call it hypoglycemia. And they're eating turkey and tuna fish and egg whites. They're just shoveling in animal products every couple of hours. They might as well just snort cocaine every 2 hours, because that's what they're doing.
Well, you've said in the past that cocaine is a gateway to sugar. Or is it heroin?
It's that sugar is the gateway to cocaine.
Oh, is that what it is?
I thought cocaine was. That's a joke.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I thought cocaine was, and if you look at cocaine and sugar, they were like, cocaine was what brings you to sugar, but I said it wrong. So
you know what? When people come off, when they go to Alcoholics Anonymous and they get off their alcohol, or they go away to a drug rehab center and they get off the cocaine, what do they give these people? Donuts and candy and cookies. They don't get off their addictive brain problems. They go from one addiction to another. You're right, they switch from hard drugs and they go on to sugar. But of course, I'm also saying that sugar in childhood is the gateway drug to more serious drug use and alcoholism in later life, because that's not a joke. That's serious. That it really does create that. And kids who have more candy are more likely to be arrested for a violent crime or to be a drug addict in adulthood. So that is definitely a link here. And people who eat fast food and fried foods are also more likely to become drug addicts. And we have an epidemic of an opiate addiction epidemic, and we have a food addiction epidemic, and we have a fried food addiction epidemic, and it destroys lives, and it's killing people at a much faster rate than the coronavirus is, and it ever will. We'll never get as many deaths. Even in the height of Italy, the amount of people dying today is in the hundreds. It's in the thousands of people are dying of food addictions every single day.
Yes, all addictions. And there's so many times that you've come on and you've said things about the food addiction, toxic hunger, and also, the fact that people are revving up their metabolism so that they can eat more food so they can lose some weight. And that right there, when we did that class, and by the way, for those of you who want to, Dr. Fuhrman, we've got classes from Dr. Fuhrman since 2015 of different topics, but I remembered that one when we were talking about a fast metabolism. I was programmed to believe that a fast metabolism was great until I learned from Dr. Fuhrman that is not true at all. Would you like to update us on anybody who's trying to speed up their metabolism so that they can lose weight?
it's an impossible thing to do anyway. You can never speed up your metabolism in order to lose weight. You can speed up your metabolism to gain weight slower, but you can't speed up your metabolism to lose weight, because what speeds up metabolism is the excess consumption of calories. It helps when you take in excess calories, more than the body needs. Instead of all those calories turning into fat, your body speeds up its metabolism in an attempt to burn some of the excess away. So instead of gaining 20 pounds, you only gain 10 pounds, but you'll still gain the 10 pounds. But the 10 pounds that were burned from the excess metabolism, that excess burning accelerated the aging process, destroyed your stem cells and your telomeres, and made you more likely to shorten your lifespan from infection and from cancer. Yes. So speeding up your metabolic rate is powerfully dangerous. What we want to do is slow down our metabolic rate so we can eat less and not get too thin. When you undershoot calories, because we went on here on the East Coast on the air together about 5 o'clock. So I ate dinner before we had the show. Mm-hmm. I'm finished eating for the day by 5 o'clock. I'm not going to eat for the rest of the night. What I'm saying is even if I get a little hungry at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I'm just going to have a little water. I'm still not going to eat anything the rest of the night. I could speed up my metabolism by eating more food, but that's not good for my health. I want to finish an early dinner. The point is, if I undershoot calories a little bit, my body will slow down its metabolic rate. It'll lower its body temperature. It'll lower the respiratory quotient, which is the calories burned through respiration. And because of the slight slowing of metabolism, it'll have effect to slow the aging process and stabilize my stem cells and my telomeres and protect me from cancer and infection when I'm 95 years old. Eating a little less right now is going to make you age slower, to have your body function better and be younger as you age for a better life later. It's that little under-eating by just a hair that has this magical effect, which slows your metabolism down so you can eat less food without getting too thin. I don't really drop much below 145 pounds. I calorically restrict so my weight gets down to 145, but I usually stay, that's like the low as I can get my body to go. Since I'm exercising and lifting weights, my body will slow its metabolism down and try to hold on to that muscle tissue. It doesn't want to it's not easy for me to get thinner than that. That's what we want to achieve.
Yes, that's great.
Running at 150, 155, overeating chronically, I'm still going to look thin, I'm still going to look right, but it's not quite perfect because I'm still overeating slightly to keep it 150, 155. There's a big difference in longevity from being a little lighter and eating a little less food here. And this is what we're talking about. And people who are overweight have been chronically overeating for so long that they have no connection they've lost the idea of how much calories or how much is the right amount of food to eat. It takes time to achieve that. That's, of course, why we give people the guidance. We tell people, don't decide what to eat. Don't eat what you want to eat. Don't eat what you like to eat. Don't eat what you think you should eat. Don't eat what you used to eat. Don't eat what you think. Just follow the program. Do what we tell you to do. Eat the type of food and the amount of food we tell you to eat. And then over time, you'll start to feel this is right for you. And over time, you'll start to get real hunger. And over time, you'll be connected. And over time, your taste buds will change. You'll like the food. You'll learn the recipes. And you can start, and you'll like this so much more. And you can eat, you make the recipes you like. But at the beginning, when your body is so perverted and your taste is so distorted and the amount of food you think you need is so distorted, just follow the program and let it do its magic.
Trust the process, because it does work. Trust the process. That's my favorite. Whenever I'm resisting, trust the process always gets me to that we need to go through a process to get to where we need to be. And so trust the process with the Nutritarian lifestyle. So I want to go and get a question from Maria. Maria asked the question that there is no amount of protein necessary for weight gain loss, is there? My son keeps saying protein, though, for gaining muscle mass. So she's wanting to know about protein and gaining muscle mass.
Well, protein is very important, especially as we age. And the Seventh-day Adventist study, especially Seventh-day Adventist study 2, confirmed that as people eat more animal protein, they shorten their lifespan. And as people eat more plant protein, they lengthen their lifespan, which is very critical information. That says that, and this has been borne out by multiple studies now, that as you construct the portfolio of plant foods, as you aim to include more high protein plant foods, you live longer. As your diet becomes, more, let's say, higher in carbohydrate, more rice or potato, or more, it's not as longevity promoting as a diet with more high protein plants, such as green vegetables, beans, quinoa, hemp seeds, pine nuts, as soybeans, as we eat these foods that we know are protein rich. What I'm saying is that, yes, as we get older, we need more protein, but the protein still has to be supplied by plant
Good quality.
foods, not by plant foods, not animal products, because
Yes.
animal products cause too much acidity. They cause the wrong type of bacteria to grow in your gut. They expose you to toxins. They break IGF-1 get too high. So we're essentially a nutritarian diet, because of the high amount of greens and seeds and beans and mushrooms, is a relatively high protein plant food diet, which is more appropriate for the elderly than a lower protein plant-based diet. Some of those low protein plant-based diets that are so high in carbohydrate, then their IGF-1 could drop precipitously low. They could need to have animal products, because their diet could be inadequate. We don't need animal products. Very unlikely a person's going to need animal products to get their protein up, because the diet is so well designed and already protein adequate. So yes, all these, both protein, fat, and carbohydrate are all important. And a nutritarian diet is not radical. It's not radically low in fat. It's not radically low in protein. It's not radically low in carbohydrate. The focus isn't on the ratio of macronutrients. The focus is on overall nutritional quality. And we're in that range where we're getting enough fat, enough protein, and enough good quality carbohydrates that are very nutrient rich. And when you do that, it naturally lowers the glycemic effect of the diet and keeps your insulin low. Because a plant food diet that's higher in lower quality carbohydrates and more potato, rice, and bread will have a higher circulating insulin, along with that high carbohydrate plant-based diet. A lot of vegans are not getting the health benefits they should getting. They're still overweight. They still have heart attacks. They still can get demented. They still get Parkinson's, and they still can get strokes, because they're not. So your nutritarian diet takes it a step further to reduce the risks of all those causes of death. Not just switch one cause for another cause and you die at the same place. That's what most of these diets do. They give you, but in any way, when we look at all causes of death, the diet is protein adequate. If you're saying about muscle tissue, yes, we want to make sure that you're using things like beans in your diet with the green vegetables, and that combination of beans and greens are been shown to keep your muscles and bones strong. So even the weightlifters and the professional athletes are finding that they have better endurance and they age slower when they get most of the protein from quality plant foods.
Very good. Very good. Now, Dr. Fuhrman, get ready with your book. I just want to remind all of you that are watching today, and for those of you who are listening on podcast later on and on YouTube, watching on YouTube, we're giving away 3 of Eat for Life. If you're asking a question, if you make a comment, if you put a like or a little emoji, whatever it is you do, you will automatically be entered into the giveaway. But here's the deal. If you tag somebody, if you share this, you will also be added into the winner's basket. And so I will select 3 different winners. And I am behind on doing this because I've had an incredible visitor in my home. She's my mom. And so I'm a little behind in drawing like the things that I need to do, but please bear with me. We'll get to you once we draw it. We will get your name. So start your liking, like your share and post, and remember, go to whenyouneedafriend.com, and please remember to subscribe while you're there. And while you're there, check out my sponsors. And because if it weren't for the sponsors, there would be no class and we wouldn't have this free programming. So please support our sponsors the way they're supporting us. Sponsors like Keep Me Safe Organics, Liberty Health Share, First Alternative Care. Hey, listen, that's telemedicine. for the entire household, not only medical, non-urgent medical, but also dermatology, and 3 hours a year of behavioral health. And that includes a portal that helps you with making some great choices for you. You can plug in Nutritarian. By the way, Dr. Fuhrman, I need to plug you into that so that they can promote a Nutritarian lifestyle as well, because they help you with recipes and all of that so that you can take your health back. And it's for $45 a month. The entire family, entire household, which I'm going to add my mom because she's staying with me right now, is $45 a month. So now more than ever, if you don't want to go to the doctor, you can call First Alternative Care. Go on to whenyouneedafriend.com, click on that, and sign up and register. Dr. Stephen Grable, complimentary care in Jacksonville. We have the pharmacy in Merritt Island, Live Longer Medical, Ground Therapy, Brain Tap, and so support them the way that they're supporting the classroom. And you can become an enrolled student. You can give up your time, your talent, or your treasure. So please, let's help grow the show, help grow the classroom by liking, subscribing, sharing this information, because there's so much more information out there that is fear-driven. This is about love. This is about self-love and loving people that you are with to learn a new truth. So with that in mind, we have so many questions, Dr. Fuhrman. Kathy asked about your opinion about the COVID-19, and you've already shared that before. But she also asked for what is a good immune builder for when it comes to supplements. She suggested C and zinc, but what would you suggest?
No, first of all, I have my own multivitamin for women and for men, and what makes mine unique is it does not have folic acid in it. It doesn't have beta carotene in it. It doesn't have a vitamin E fragment. In other words, some of these synthetic supplements are harmful to the immune system, but a little extra zinc, so giving people what they need to have optimal levels, not excessive amounts. So one is the multivitamin. I've designed it to be conservative and not excess, because excess is just as bad as too little, and not to take things that can harm you.
Sure.
The second thing is my immune biotech supplement. It's not the only one like it, but it has about 12 different mushroom extracts designed to increase the ability of the body's immune system to have anti-cancer effects, and the same antiviral effects are present. It's got, it's got elderberry, astragalus, beta-glucan, and about 12 different mushroom extracts in it. So I usually combine those two. And then I also recommend people take a little bit of DHA or EPA, a vegan source, to protect the brain from aging as they move their diet more plant-based and not eating as much polluted fish, to get those fatty acids for the brain with aging. So, so it's a combination of those three supplements I'm using for most people: the multi, the immune biotech, and the DHA EPA purity.
Very good. Very good. Okay, I'm going to move right along because I know all of you have been patient and you have your questions. So Lillian asks if frozen vegetables are better than fresh, and we've talked about that in the past as well. And I love your answer.
Well, I still want people to eat fresh greens, but frozen are excellent because frozen foods are picked at their right degree of ripeness, and the vegetables are just blanched for 60 seconds. They're not overcooked, and the nutrients are locked in. And for example, I eat frozen blueberries and frozen strawberries almost every day. I think they taste better than the fresh. They taste better than the fresh usually because they're picked at their higher degree of ripeness, and they're not the kind that's going to be picked early and kept on the shelf for travel for long distances. Those berries are picked for their ability to withstand travel and pressure and being stacked and packed. And the ones that are frozen are even better tasting and maybe even more nutrient rich. Yes. So I think the frozen food is one of the opportunities we have to eat healthy foods all year round. The fact that we can eat wild blueberries and fresh strawberries all year is utterly amazing. And we can eat cherries, frozen cherries all year. It's amazing that we can eat these foods. And we can combine that with some fresh microgreens or sprouts or baby greens. I don't even remember, like 15 years ago, we could get sprouts, microgreens, and baby green vegetables. I bought baby bok choy in a box, like lettuce with baby pea shoots. You can get so much healthy stuff today that's so good for you. So yes, the trick is to mix fresh vegetables, have a salad every day. You can have frozen vegetables and you can have some frozen fruit at the same time in your diet to make it convenient for you. And it's a very, very great combination to mix fresh with a little frozen.
Yeah. One of the things that you gave us as a tip a while ago is that when you have the frozen blueberries that don't have they don't have pesticides, it says pesticide free, that's just as good as organic, isn't it?
Yes, I often use that Wyman brand of wild blueberries because the smaller blueberries are even healthier, and they're not organic, but they don't need to be because they don't spray them and there's no pesticide residue on that. They just can't call them organic because they use some fungicides when they're making the plants, when they're sprouting the seeds when the plants are young. But there's no pesticides sprayed on those blueberries. But compare that to berries you buy non-organic that are fresh, and you have a horse of a different color because then they need to spray them with fungicides because they go bad in the supermarket.
Correct.
And you have fungicides on them. Where the frozen, there are no fungicides on them, even if not organic.
Yes. And I just want to give a shout out to Barbara, who passed her cheesecake today. She passed on it. So that's a good start. And it's little baby steps like that is what's going to get you a little step closer to that health that you desire. So congratulations. But we got to do more. We got to do more. Make that commitment. And by the way, if you want to earn an opportunity to get a free book, and even if you have a copy of the book, everybody who asks questions or make a comment or does anything and shares, and will get your name added to the winner's basket. So we're going to be selecting 3. Now, thank you, Linda, for your comment. I love it. Another question is, okay to drink most of your greens?
No. It's okay to drink some greens and make a green smoothie supplementally to the ones you eat, but you shouldn't drink all of them. You should drink some of them. It's good to chew the greens in the mouth because they mix with the bacteria in the mouth and they form nitric oxide and other beneficial compounds. And they also support your gums and your teeth health from chewing. And you have to chew things very well. So you should be eating salads and chewing them, liquefying them, in addition to any green juices or green smoothies you also make. So it's important to do both.
Very good.
Now, obviously, if people have no teeth or they really can't, or they have some dental issues where they can't chew, then they got to blend it. But if you do have teeth, you should use them.
Okay, so for those of you with teeth, that's a good suggestion. Okay, so Victoria asked what your opinion is about the aeroponic, or I thought they were hydroponic.
Hydroponic, yeah.
Hydroponic. She put aeroponic, but I didn't know maybe there's an aeroponic as well.
There might be, but the point is that a lot of people think that they're just as good and they look good, but I personally think that that great soil with a mixture of earthworm castings and natural materials,
which is in your garden.
Bacteria.
Oh my gosh.
You know, the soil at a retreat, for example, we have people come there and they're food addicts and they're very sick. And I'm convinced that some of the magic we see there is because the soil is so great.
Yeah.
Because I have in there, you know, natural compost from pine needles and leaves, and I have earthworm castings and bat guano and natural biochar and coconut husks, and there's just the soil is so rich and dark and great, and the food you plant the seed and it bursts with flavor, and it's amazing what it does to the human potential when you feed food grown from great soil. It's just we're seeing those foods might be an okay substitute and certainly better than most foods Americans are eating, but they're not as good as really organic food grown in this superior soil.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Fuhrman, I know that in this chapter, you talk about depression, anxiety, and food. And so one of the questions that was asked by, let me see, who was it? I just saw it. By Jen, she said, how do we stop the emotional eating?
Well, sometimes it's the same as stopping smoking. You have to stop it, and you have to clean out your house of ashtrays and cigarettes, and you have to inform all your family and all your friends and every social contact that you're quitting smoking and to help support you in that. Mm-hmm. The same thing with food. You have to get a big construction garbage bag. You have to remove all the food of temptation in from your house. You have to make sure there's nothing around you. You have to inform your family and friends you're not eating sugar and salt and flour and oil anymore, that you're on this program for your health, and you appreciate their support. They shouldn't eat those foods around you. They should help support you in keeping your environment clean. And the only way to succeed is with abstinence. And for those people who have an unfavorable home environment or they're too psychologically impaired, that's why I have my retreat in San Diego, so people can come to a safe place with great food and they can take time to abstain, because the longer you abstain from those trigger and those cravings, their attraction weakens and eventually leaves you. And that's why they put people away for 3 months who are cocaine addicts, because it reduces their chance of recidivism the longer they're off the cocaine. We got to get people off the sugar and salt and oil for a long enough period of time. They stop craving those foods. And by that time, their taste buds have changed. They've learned the great recipes. They're starting to enjoy this way of eating. And they have a shot at being successful in this for the rest of their life.
Yes.
So you can do this on your own. You can get the extra support you need. On my website, we have supportive services and communications and forums and discussions. But if you can't succeed on your own, then you still got to succeed. In other words, don't settle with being sick and overweight. There's always some way you can get help. And if you need professional help, get it to do this program, because this program's too important for your life.
Yes, yes. So Victoria went back and said that she does have an aeroponic because she lives up north, and so she brings it indoors. So I've never heard an aeroponic, so that's something. Maybe you can send me some information on that, Victoria. Okay, so I'm looking for cues. Of course, Dr. Fuhrman, there's lots of people praising you, saying wonderful things about you. You may want to go back and take a look at this. So right now I don't see any cues. So if you have a question, please type in a cue. I scroll down, I stop at the cues. I don't see any cues right now. So
you know what? Can I say something about that praise of me for a second?
Yeah.
Because what is our happiness based on? I just want to make this clear, that people have better emotional security and happiness when they can emote and care for other people more. Mm-hmm. So it's not the praise you get that makes us feel good. What makes us, give us the best type of emotional well-being is how we can care for other people. Mm-hmm. And when you do this and you become a role model, every person out there should become a role model. You have more ability to have a positive effect on other people. And it's our ability to positively impart care, knowledge, and interest in and love to other people that gives us back our reward. It's our ability to love and give and care for others. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to care and love so many people in my life. And I appreciate people caring for me and loving me back. And that's what's good for them. It's good for them to show that care, and it's good for me to show that care, because obviously that's protecting our health in an emotional way. So we're no longer competing with each other, trying to beat each other out, trying to feel. It's really and healthy eating helps us be more grateful for the food, more grateful for the aesthetic structure of the world, how the world's put together to protect us, not to hurt us. We get more feeling and care, and we appreciate the food more. We're grateful for the food. We're grateful for other people. We're grateful for the people that made the food, that grew the food, that harvested the food, that planted the food. We're more caring and feeling for other humans. And I think that's poor. I think that eating right and being grateful for this wonderful opportunity to have a good, healthy life improves our ability to do that and helps our emotional well-being in this sense that's kind of a holistic way of seeing these things.
Well, Dr. Fuhrman, I mean, I stand with everybody also to say, this isn't something that you have to continue. That you are so passionate. This isn't something that you do because of money. This is something you do because you are truly passionate. Because we have been misinformed about food from the moment we were born. Right. And so it's wonderful that you are helping us rewrite the program, because that's the bottom line. We've got to rewrite the program, and the more we rewrite the program, the quicker we will start adopting this as a lifestyle and making it an informed choice. And that's what you're so good. This book has a lot of tips, great recipes, and I'm looking forward to giving 3 away. So you know what to do. Dr. Fuhrman, thank you so much for always. And I know that we have lots of questions. Oh, real quick. Do you eat miso? Do you use miso? That's a question. I see a cue.
I mean, I've had it occasionally. I don't think I've had it in the last month, but I've had miso, a low sodium miso, once in a while in a
Okay.
recipe like a Caesar dressing, but not regularly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Fuhrman. All of you, start sharing. If you want your name in the basket, start sharing. Do everything you can to win this book. But if you don't win it, go to Amazon or your local bookstore, wherever it is, and get it for yourself. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Fuhrman wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Can you take like 2 or 3 more questions?
Yeah, I just was chatting with you, and I was telling you that Eat for Life just became my 7th New York Times bestseller.
Woo! Awesome. Did you text me that?
I just chatted you that.
You did? Oh,
Yeah,
well, congratulations. You see, we are supporting you, Dr. Fuhrman. All these years of being John the Baptist on the mountain, screaming it from the mountaintop, and having people cut off your head for what you believe in. You know, it's so wonderful that this is paying off for you, that this is paying off for us, because this is the 7th. How does it feel to be the 7th New York Times? This is your 7th book that is a New York Times bestseller.
And my last book, by the way, I should say.
Your last book. I know you say that. Blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that. Every 2 years you pop out a new baby. You know.
No. That's because I've been working like crazy around the clock to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So you tied your book tubes?
I've done right, exactly. Yes, I would say that's true.
Okay. So I'll say I believe you, but I don't know if anybody else believes you. But
it's
I'm
good
hoping
that at
this is
least
not
my
your
last book became a New York Times bestseller, and 7's a nice number, right?
You know what? 7 is a very scriptural number. It's a great number. Why not? Why? You know, it's great. I am so proud of you, Dr. Fuhrman, and I'm so proud to be connected to you since 2015 and being able to help promote the Nutritarian lifestyle. And I think that's what we need to stop the madness of the dieting for getting into a bathing suit or getting into a wedding dress or going to whatever. Because once you do that, what happens after that? There's no goal. So, to say, I am loving myself because I deserve health. I deserve to be healthy. And this is how I choose, me, Lillian McDermott, and my family chooses to eat. Now, we're not perfect, Dr. Fuhrman, but for the most part, you're in our kitchen every day. Just want you to know that, Dr. Fuhrman, whether we talk once a month or once every other time and text each other, whatever it is, just know you're in my kitchen every day. So congratulations on making that. So congratulations. Okay, so real quick, there was one question that grains. Michelle said that grains trigger her overeating. She said, can I safely cut out grains and instead just eat from the bottom 3 levels of the Fuhrman pyramid?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, but of course, recognize that it's the flour that causes the problem. Grinding the grain into the flour to make it more glycemic, to make the calories into the bloodstream faster is what the problem is. Whereas a whole intact grain like quinoa usually doesn't have that negative effect. And quinoa is higher in protein and more glycemically favorable anyway. So, and it doesn't have arsenic like brown rice does. So I'm suggesting, sure, you don't have to have the grain, but try quinoa. Usually it's very well tolerated.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go real quick to, and if I miss your question, I will write it down for the next class. So come back with that. Okay. Michelle is saying she's reading your super immunity. And let's see, any other questions? Let me see if there's any other questions. Barbara, she said, how was it at PBS special? How was it at the PBS special, which was great? I saw a beautiful, you did? Okay, so I need to, how do we watch the PBS special? Is there a copy that we can get? So
No, go
she
on to your
apparently said I was in the audience.
I saw you on it too. Go DVR it. Type in "food is medicine" to the PBS channel in your area. I was just in South Florida.
What? You didn't call me?
So I was down in South Florida at the PBS studio, doing it live in the studio. They're airing it about 20 times in South Florida. So if you missed it being aired the first few times, they're going to air it again. Go and look on your television. You'll find it. Search for it.
I'm going to have to DVR it.
DVR it and search for it. They're going to show it 1,300 times across the nation in the next few weeks.
That's amazing. And you know, that is, there are so many things. This has been, and when you are a trailblazer, you're by yourself, cutting all those weeds and making the trail. And sometimes you could be alone. It could be lonely. And so isn't it wonderful, the validation that you're getting today from, making this, because you've had many books in between. And, but this one has been, maybe it's because of the fact that you're not, there's so many people who've tried to kind of stop you from this path, but you keep going and you're gaining momentum. So congratulations. I'm going to go check out the PBS special. I encourage all of you to do the same and keep promoting this lifestyle. And by the way, if you decide that you want to go to the Dr. Fuhrman Eat to Live Retreat Center, I was just there a month or so ago and it was phenomenal. The food is phenomenal. Just being able to eat from your garden, Dr. Fuhrman, I don't think I've ever done that. And it was just such a highlight in my life.
Right. I gave you some food right out of the garden. We were eating from the garden, right? Yeah.
I did. I think I went back and I stole some stuff, but I just have to tell you, it's the Catholic guilt. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Fuhrman. I know that there's so many people that have continued questions, but we'll hold those off because we have hard outs and my mom is waiting for dinner. So, and I'm making a bean. It's going to be I think it's like 6-bean chili with Dr. Fuhrman's influence in the background. So thank you so much, Dr. Fuhrman. Okay. We'll see you next month.
Take care, everybody. Be well.
Okay, everybody. Make sure you share, you like it, and please follow us at whenyouneedafriend.com. Okay, we'll see you. Goodbye.